Hey, everybody, I'm John Granato. That's Lance Zerline. You can hear us mornings on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Rules changes next year, Major League Baseball, Lance. How do you see banning the shift impacting production offensively? I think it's going to help.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's being done so that it improves offensive production. We saw runs scored were really down this year for Major League Baseball. I think the shift, you can still put a mini shift on, but it is going to have an impact on the guys who have a little bit more bat control are going to, they're always going to have an advantage against the shift over players who don't have it. But a guy like Jordan, it's a huge advantage for these dead pull hitters. Guys like Jordan who hit the ball hard and now infielders can't be in the grass. You can't have a super shift on. Guys who can go up the middle and pull and they hit the ball hard off the bat.
Wow.
It's a huge advantage for those guys.
And here's the deal is, you see the second baseman playing short right field and they still can't get to some of his shots. If they've got to be on the infield dirt now for him, I'm telling you, I don't want to play. I don't want to be that second baseman or first baseman that I've got to be up there in the dirt, and because he hits rockets. So it is going to be I think a nice advantage for a Jordan, that kind of hitter. There aren't a lot of hitters like Jordan, but I think he's going to be impacted really positively. What about Framber with his ground balls? Is that what about the impact of not being able to shift with him on the mound?
Well, I mean, because he is a ground ball pitcher, it probably will have some impact on him a little bit. I do think that Framber, because of the way he throws, he is able to get hitters to, they don't get a lot of hard contact off of him. Yeah. Low home run totals. So I don't think it will matter as much. It may come into play 2 times a game, where there may be a single, and that's a lot. If you get one more hit, if you get 3 extra hits in a game, because and that would be more than I would expect. Probably one time you get 1 extra hit per game that maybe you wouldn't have gotten, and even that might be a high total that I'm throwing out there. But it could impact Framber because he has such a high ground ball percentage pitch.
We say that, it's so funny. How many times do we see a ball hit where the shortstop usually is and go, oh, if they didn't have the shift on, they would have had that. That happens once or twice a game, maybe. So I think you're going to have much the same. Oh, look at that hit would have been, yeah, that's right, where the shortstop would have been playing on the other side of second base, and that's going to be a hit. So I think it might even even out. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it evens out and how pitchers are going to adjust. We're going to talk about the clock in just a second. That's going to have a big impact. But first, let's hear from Dr. Manavis. This is the greatest time ever to have an enlarged prostate because of your procedure, isn't it?
So the prostate artery embolization is an alternative to the traditional surgery. What I do is I place an IV, the same thing you get in your arm or your wrist at the hospital. So I inject microscopic beads to slow down that blood flow to what a normal prostate requires, and the prostate shrinks in response.
So simple, so easy. The procedure is basically a long lunch, isn't it?
It's true. It's about 45 minutes. You'll hang out with me afterwards for about 30 minutes, and then you're on your way home.
If you think you have an enlarged prostate, one place to go, 975prostate.com. Hey, the pitching clock is going to – I'm going to tell you this is going to cause a real problem. I think the pitching clock is going to be a real problem for the umpires to actually legislate this thing, because you're going to have some leeway here. The pitcher wasn't on the mound. The batter wasn't in the box in 7 seconds. I think that you're going to have a real issue next year for it to be fair for both sides.
I don't know. What do you mean by fair for both sides?
Well, I think, hey, he took 8 seconds. You gave us a strike when he took when we weren't in the box. You're not giving him a strike. Why is he stepping out of the box? I really think that if umpires are going to be sticklers about this rule, it is going to create a lot of controversy in the game.
I think we may have some early in the year. What it's meant to do is just speed up the process for a lot of pitchers. There's not going to be as much going to the rosin bag or, taking the glove off. Could impact Framber. Framber is one of those guys who is willing to work a little slower. and grind out each pitch. So what it's meant to do is obviously speed the game up, but if they enforce it early on, pitchers will start getting into rhythms quicker. Yep. I don't think it will be a huge issue. Anytime there's change, there's going to be complaints about change. And so the first time we see a ball given because a pitcher didn't deliver on time, you may see a pitcher just literally say, I would rather take a ball than make a bad pitch right here. And, I'm not going to rush a pitch up there, because at some point a pitcher is going to have the clock winding down. They're going to try to make a pitch real quick, and it's going to get rocked. And they're going to realize, all right, I better work faster, or I'm just going to sit and take the ball.
Yeah, you know what? I think that it's going to be a lot like the targeting rule in football, where you just learn to play differently. You got to hit around the chest now, and you don't headhunt anymore. It's tough, but you have to adjust, and there are some mistakes that are made.
Right.
But pitchers are just going to have to realize I can't lollygag. And hitters, how's it going to affect Kyle Tucker? How's it going to affect Altuve? Those guys step out of the box, they do the gloves and everything else, and it's going to be a much quicker process.
So I know people will probably poo-poo that and act like it's not going to be that big a deal, but hitting is ritualistic for Kyle Tucker. He's got things that he does, step, pick up the dirt, spit in the dirt where he picked it up, rub the top of his bat. There's a ritual he has that gets him into his rhythm and his pattern. And unless you're somebody who believes in rituals or even superstitions, it doesn't make a lot of sense to you. You won't believe it. But those guys, that is something that could mentally, if they feel like I can't do my rituals, so now I'm not, I'm out of rhythm, my chi's all messed up. It really actually could have an impact on those guys. I think it is something to keep an eye out.
So Kyle Tucker should take less money right now and sign a long-term contract.
I would. Just to be safe.
Just to be safe.
Let's put 7 years on it. At $24 million, and I think that's fair for all sides.
Done. We just did it. It's over. Kyle Tucker just signed.